think? I'm not sure who that is.
No, I don't either.
Let's see. It's coming. Mm, all right, hang on. It's taking a bit. Here it comes. All right. I'm gonna pull
I
it up
tr
on.
I tried to do some things with the video to see it improved, but this is it, I think.
No, no, it's good. It's you can see your energy. It's like waves. All right, let's see here. It's coming. It's just slow. Here it comes. So it might fade out every now and then, but we'll be okay. It won't disconnect. Okay, so there is the Facebook Live. There it is. I see us. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off and come back over here, and I'll turn Facebook on. Oh, whoever was here left. That's funny. Okay, let me go in here. That way I can see at least see some comments on Facebook. And then let me turn my
Let me
that
check my
off.
Facebook.
Yeah, now yours, let me tag you. That way.
Okay, I can put it on later on as well. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean
Maybe.
you could share it. Let me see if I can just tag it real quick. I think I can. Yeah, let me
So,
just put
so I don't
here
want. I don't.
at
Maybe we're overloading the feed. I'm not sure.
no 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 we're good. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay, so then I just tagged. Let me see here. I tagged you on the actual video on Facebook. Yep, there it goes. Okay, so I'll turn that on. We got 9 people in the house. Jana, Kozar, Allison Glenn, Michael Kilmer, other people. Yeah, so yeah, David and I just decided to do an impromptu conversation, and there's been a lot going on. Uh, Morgan and I both have a lot of respect for David, and I don't know. Before I stopped doing videos, I hit you up, and then we never did it. And I thought I feel like getting back on and talking to somebody about what's happening. And you were the first person that came to mind. I thought, yeah, let's see what he wants to do or if he wants to do it. So yeah, it's good to finally meet you. Uh, in after all these years, it seems like I don't even know how far we've been connected, but like so many of us, it just seems like it's always been that way. But yeah, you're in the Netherlands. I told Morgan that. She said the same thing I did. I said, I thought he was in America. And you said the same thing when I said it to you. So, but yeah, welcome to the conversation and it's good to meet you.
Likewise, Todd. We've known each other for a long time, but never on video.
I know. I know. Well, I think there's a lot to be said there too. We've been knowing each other like so many of us for eons and eons and eons. And
Right.
it's really remarkable to me what's happened. I think Morgan and I, our stories kind of seems to always parallel the things that have been happening. So just like as a backdrop, like, COVID came in March of 2020. We were in Florida and then and the whole world just kind of changed, right? Over the next few months. And so we eventually uh, ended up getting a permanent place to live in June of 2020. So like three months later, and then in April of 21, right when the COVID really started to um, peak with the mandates and all that, she literally landed in Australia right into the mandates. Had to come off a plane, and there were soldiers on each side, and they put them on a bus and stuck them in a hotel. But in terms of like the collective thing, so we were apart for 37 months, and then we came together in June. And it seems like that period, 21, 22, 23, and even into 24, it was a huge transformation for everybody. And I guess COVID had some impact on that because it woke a lot of people up, kind of like 9/11. But what I was going to say is what's so remarkable to me is the way that the world stage is um, unfolding, or at least being presented to us as it's unfolding, with, wars and, other things, all the stuff that's coming out. We've been told for years it was going to come out. But what I find remarkable is people like you and me and everybody here that is really still tuned into their own personal development. And I think coming into a wider awareness of our impact on the collective, no matter what's being presented to us. It seems like we're confident now in our personal journeys and our connectivity to each other. But what does that kind of fit in your narrative? Like, COVID hit, everything changed, 21, 22, 23, and into 24. Did you have a lot of personal transformation?
Oh yeah, I think many on this spiritual path of being a way shower for many have been going through a lot of shifts. And of course, we've been awake for a long time. I've been awake for about 30 years now. And of course, the COVID situation,
Really?
um, I think the COVID situation helped speed up awakening more of a bigger part of humanity, because everybody was confronted uh, or almost forced by the universe to stay within and look at their own life um, on a yeah like just watching yourself in the mirror. I mean, a lot of people were locked up in their own home, could not leave the home, were not allowed to socialize. So yeah, I think that was a trigger, mostly for a bigger part of humanity to really take a good look at themselves. Is this what I want? Is this how we should live? Do we need to listen to our governments? Are we yeah, are we taken seriously? Have we been receiving the truth about the whole COVID situation? It's I think it made
Yeah.
everybody aware that yeah, there's more going on. It's yeah, it's a big part of awakening for all of us, even for the ones that were
Yeah.
on the
Uh,
forefront.
yeah. Yes. There's a little bit of a lag, so uh, I'm not interrupting you, and it's a
Okay.
little bit of a lag, but that's okay. It'll be fine. So, yeah, one of the things is, you said you're from the Netherlands, and one of the things that you're talking about that I noticed was obviously my partners from Australia. We have a lot of Canadian friends, all of us. And one of the things that I found really striking about the whole mandate thing was, first, Australia and Canada being so oppressive. We always thought of Australia and Canada as being like these progressive countries that had, a better degree of socialism. And you would just, that was the story we were told. And the one that really impacted me, because there was other countries too, was the Netherlands. I always thought of the Netherlands as being this, not a wild place, but a very open thinking place, and very progressive. And the more people I talked to on Soul Speaks 5D that were from there, they were telling me, "Oh no, man, it's they're coming down hard on us here." Like there was a lot of that prejudice and bias that was pushed and from the establishment, which was kind of shocking to me. But yeah, I think you're right. You know, we have we've been put in a place where there's fewer doors to open, or maybe more doors closed, or that's the same thing. And like you said, you're locked down, and you've got to look at yourself, and then also even people that you live with that maybe you hadn't really talked to
True.
before. You know. But there seemed to be a de-emphasis has occurred or is occurring of projecting onto other people and really taking to heart that this is all me. I'm responsible for my energy field. And not only is that some level of accountability, but it's also at the highest level creativity, creation itself, taking ownership of our world through our own I am presence, you might say.
Yes, I agree. It's yeah, becoming even aware even more how precious your own energy is, how precious your life is,
Hmm.
and how important it is to set healthy boundaries.
Yeah.
Because people really don't know any limitations. Uh, they do whatever comes in their head. And it's easier, especially online, to say whatever you want. You know, it's easy. You're behind the you're almost anonymous, so you can say whatever you want, and people use their voice. On a way, I say, well, I have to set more healthy boundaries and be more selective in the people you hang out with, the people you want to
Hmm.
hang out with, because it is so important to stay sane, to keep your energy
Yeah.
vibrant, high, and yeah, try not to get into the chaos in the outer world too much. Uh, it's okay to watch the news sometimes, but not
Right.
the whole day long. You know, it's we're been being bombarded with so much information and chaos around us. While we need to be that steady pillar of light to stay calm. It's not easy, but we have to stay calm in the storm. We are that anchor for the divine light, and so we cannot get into too many discussions these days. Even more, sure, it's you have to be very selective.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a direct energetic pattern, whether it be people, like people that you come across, and we've had to learn to set boundaries and so on, like you're talking about, and maintain our and sustain our energy field and expand it. And then with the global presentation of everything that, like you said, that we're bombarded with, they're really the same choices made in both situations. Morgan and I have been going through a tremendous amount of elevations and activations and so on, the cycles that we all go through since we've been physically reunited. And we were talking last night through one of these periods that we've just seemed to enter again for, they seem to last 2 and 3 days, that, you know, we realized, and in fact, she talked about it at the beginning of the month in her channels. She said, what's one of the things that's up this month, really up, is the siphoning of our energy and coming to the point where we realize that it's our choice whether it's to be siphoned or not. So it's kind of going to what you're talking about and describing with the boundaries. But what she was saying last night, what we were talking about was one choice is just to close up. So if you close up, there's no way they can get at you. But at the same time, we're being asked to open up. So it's like we're having to open up and operate from this place where we're not taking energy and we're not giving our energy up. That there's this kind of, I came up with a term, or we were describing it today, like a tractor beam, like a magnetic and electric uniformity uh, that seems to be permeating into our lives now, regardless of all the things that we're being bombarded with. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, and I think it's good that we are aware of this because we have to. Things are speeding up. The energy is becoming more intense, pushing us forward. Um, and yeah, we have to take time for ourselves. Self-care, self-love. It's so important, even more than before, because the light we're holding, especially when our body becomes more rainbow light body, we cannot be distracted in any way anymore. And it's good to be aware that we're growing so fast, expanding so fast in light and in energy. Um, and yeah, it's hard for yourself to see that. Others around
Yeah.
us see it more. And for example, a lot of people tell me, "Wow, your light is getting brighter and bigger." And well, I just do the inner work and receive the updates and try not to get into in any of the outer chaos. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's we have to, because it's we are the way showers at first, and it's our own ascension process that we came here to fulfill.
Yeah. Yeah. And witness. That seems to be a really big thing. Like you were saying, it's not always so easy to see it in yourself because it's so subtle, but it's moving so fast. Um, it's almost like you don't have time to think about it, but you see it, you witness it. And then the other thing you were saying, I forgot now. Oh, the taking time for yourself. Like, so Morgan and I have been in Mexico since the 26th of July. So we spend all of our time together, but at the same time, we've been taking time to ourselves with each other and alone. But I think what you said is happening to you as well, and I think really many, many, many people. I don't get on Facebook too much anymore, but I see it out there. That's what I was referring to earlier. It's remarkable to me that everybody's catching that, they're acknowledging that within themselves, and really, I think to some degree, you could say self-sourcing, self-sourcing more, having more confidence and trusting themselves more. Um, in a selfless way, in a way in service, really, to themselves and to each other.
True. And staying humble. Uh, just be yourself, your authentic self. Um, it's I'm not here for the likes and for the followers.
Right.
Uh, and I know that's the case for a lot of us, but there's also a lot that are only interested in the followers and the likes.
Mm.
But we're here just, I think the people who are meant to come with us on the ascension are already around us, are already connected to us. Um, and I think we don't have to do a lot anymore than just be.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, and I agree with you, in terms of like what we've been accustomed to as we all had our different roles of being way showers. Somebody like me would do it what I've done, someone like you does it the way you've done it. And it really seems like to me as we got into this year, I don't know if it's so much, although there's ego in all of us. I mean, I don't know if it's so much that we like the likes or the views or that, but that's the way that we appraised our performance or looked at are we being effective? Are we contributing? And that, and for me, it feels like it's not so much that that's what we want, but it's not working anymore. Like what we're doing is not being graded or scores not being kept by likes or views or followers or friends. It's being kept by in the energetic spectrum where we could call it invisible or spirit, but for me, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing where the old, even for me, that's why I don't mention Sology. That's why I didn't entitle this show Soul Speaks 5D. Everything seems to have had to go down to nothing,
Yeah.
just like us. And and then step out into the new field that we've talked about and forecasted for so long, and
Mhm.
yet we're walking on it now. And it's
Yes.
kind of interesting too, this last point is that and I said this for a long time, not knowing what I was saying, but maybe that the biggest challenge is to get used to our natural state.
Mhm. Yeah, our natural state of doing nothing.
Right. It's almost like you don't have to go look for anything. It comes to you. But it comes to you based on what you do or don't do.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think this is the feminine energy is more
Mm,
about receiving,
yeah.
and the masculine is more about taking action
Right.
and being in the more becoming more divine feminine energy is more guided action and listening
Right.
to yeah, yeah, inspired action. It's different. There's
Yes.
it's because I'm a marketing genius. I work for a record label as well, part time.
Well,
But even in the music industry, you can tell everything is all messed up. It's
yeah.
nothing is working anymore.
Right.
Um, and yeah, that helps me navigate like the 3D, 5D planes, and it's becoming more difficult to be in any commercial business type of of work uh, for many of us on this spiritual path. But I feel
Yeah.
it myself as well because it's tiring. It's not creative anymore. It's like everything beautiful you want to create and give to the public is not finding its way. It's being stopped
Yeah.
or blocked,
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
and it's like I think the real things we're gonna do are not here yet. The
Yeah.
template is still being created of 5D, and yeah, for us it's hard if you we like to have things now. We want that new world now, and being patient is uh, not easy. uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I wrote a line in a song a few months ago, and it was patience breeds dreams of destiny. They're still worth keeping, can't you see? And then what you're saying right now, it's exactly what Morgan and I are experiencing, even as recently as last night. Uh, because obviously, in our relationship, although we both carry, obviously, as we all do, masculine and feminine, and that trinity starts within. Uh, in our relationship, in our evolution, you know, you see certain things of the masculine in me and of the feminine in her. And one of the things that was coming out last night was I said to her, um, I see it as the feminine, it's time for the feminine to speak. And you can take that literally and you can take it metaphorically and energetically because he can't take an action until that, what you call that guidance comes in.
mhm.
He can't take that inspired action, right? That
Yeah.
part of us can't take that action until we know what that guidance is. And then what you're saying about record industry, and we could look at a lot of industries. We could even look at some of the creations that we had prior to this. I'm going to say prior to 2024, including Sology. And that is that regardless of how high frequency we were and well intentioned we were, much of what we built, or enough of what we built in the past, was built with patriarchal components, not to be confused with masculine, but just the patriarchal template itself, which suppressed the feminine and enslaved the masculine. And so those things that you're talking about, like as a creative force, the old creative methods aren't working. Even if you can make it happen, something on the other side doesn't allow you to for it to happen, because that third energy is now assisting us and showing us and leading us in with the feminine's guidance to this weird thing. And the last thing I'll say about that is since we went in here, we've met quite a few people. People came to see us, and one thing that we got from those meetings is that after we would have the meetings in the channels, usually from her, they would come in and say it had nothing to do with the words you spoke with each other. It was all about the exchange of codes that were not even verbalized. It's just,
Right.
and I'm wondering if that's where we're headed, just to these unifications and reunifications, and that's the new type of community. I don't know, just like you, I have no idea. What are your thoughts?
Well, energy speaks for sure. I think, well, we always we were always promised like a new world where we're gonna be more telepathic with each other. We're gonna be more um, empathic and sensitive, so we can pick up other people's thoughts and feelings. Um, this will help. Yeah, in the 3D world, it was more like, yeah, a lot of people say it's a curse to feel a lot of things when you're empathic,
Yeah.
but it truly is a gift, and this gift of feeling, knowing, sensing, yeah, hearing will become stronger for all of us in humanity. And this will
Yeah.
help us create this new world where we can be ourselves. Uh, we don't have to lie. People will
Right.
feel up, pick up how you feel, and help each other on a different level. And compared with the old world, it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah. It's kind of, go ahead.
yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
I just don't have the words, but you can you can feel that big things are going to happen, that we really are
Yeah.
uh, in an ascension process, and we're really evolving into a new kind of human where
Yeah.
our true natural gifts and talents will rise up and will be shown to us even more, that we don't have to be in duality anymore and compete with each other anymore, and that it's going to be a world where we be working together and share love and ideas and being creative. And I think we're all looking forward to that, and we're getting anxious because it's taking so long.
Yeah. Yeah. And back to the creativity thing you're talking about too. I had a question. So, because I know you spoke to it, and I know I've seen other people speak to it in these last few months where they can't get out of the box. They can't get, like you're talking about, you can't create the way you used to create. And it creates like a kind of space between breaths, or a void, like where you're just in this void and waiting before the next point of creation comes. How are you personally experiencing that? Because that might be able to help people. Like,
Ooh.
you're used to creating things like so many of us, yet now you can't do it. So what's the process for you? Or what's the experience been for you in terms of, I guess you would say, waiting for that new creation to come?
Well, good of you to ask, because I could create music, songs,
Mm,
almost daily, but I don't feel like inspired. Would not be the word. It's like the energy is not there. Like what you said, we're in a void,
mm,
creating the new, and some things need to fall into place for us to move forward. It's we want to move forward fast, and the universe just says, "Oh, I'm the one who's arranging all things, and uh, it needs to fall into place on the right time." And I find it hard to create new things. I'm glad
yeah.
I'm able to
Mm,
still create posts, but I also
mm,
share from other way showers, uh, posts that I um, resonate with,
right.
and I believe people can benefit from. And the only thing we can do right now is to just hold hands and be patient,
Yeah.
and wait for these events, especially like the eclipse season we're in right now, the solar flares, the intense energies. There's so much going on affecting us on so many levels, like physical, mentally, energetically, uh, even cosmic, spiritually. It's I think we're granted time by the universe to implement all these new things, all these new connections. All um, That's the only thing that makes sense to me right now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like whatever comes your way is meant to come your way. I mean, it's the same things we knew before, but okay, you go back to the example about boundaries. We had to put them up. We had to pull our energy back in. And yet, like I was saying earlier, but we at the same time we have to open up in order
Yeah.
to expand and collectively expand. And so again, I don't know if it's, there was a lot of talk over the years about we want to build a community or we want to do this enterprise or that on enterprise in a 5D manner. Even that stuff doesn't look right. It's like maybe we're just like you said, just to be and follow the yellow brick road, follow the cookie crumb trail to each other and then respect or at least openly consider every interaction that we have. And then I think there's a lot to be said for what you're saying about sharing other people, which is something that I always felt strong about. Because to me, I don't know how to explain this because the words are so hard to come up with. But if you think about the golden rule, which is in every religion, in every philosophy, in one way or the other, uh, I would twist it a little bit and say, it seems like that there's an air of I'm going to treat people how I would like to be treated, no matter how they treat me. So,
Mhm.
in other words, there's like this removal of the influence of judgment uh, in my behavior. In other words, my behavior is going to be the same. I remember when I met Morgan 9 years ago in one of our many, many talks, and she said to me, one day, and you just using me as an example,
Mhm.
one day the voice you have on screen, on camera, and the voice you have with others and the voice you have with me will all be one. It'll be the same
Right.
voice with everyone. And that's another way I would kind of describe it, with metaphor, is that we're finding our true nature and we're comfortable in our own skin.
True. It's more like what we said before. You have to be aware who you are and what energy does with your system and what thoughts do with your system. The projections
Yeah.
of other people around us is enormous. So we have to withdraw ourselves from people that demand attention.
Right.
Things we cannot force people to like us. And other people cannot force us to like them. You know, uh, it's all about loving yourself and knowing that your path is your destiny, and what goes around is important too, but it all starts from within. We all know that. If you are calm
Yeah.
and do not let the outer world distract you, you walk away from people that want to argue with you, or acting from ego base, or demanding attention. That doesn't feel right anymore. So sometimes you have to withdraw to protect your own peace, inner peace.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what you said earlier too about lying, right? We have a certain um, perspective on what that word means, but lying is also, it's an energetic thing. It's also not being yourself. Uh, People talk about being people pleasers as we evolve through that, you know, having the realization that we were people pleasers and we can't do that anymore. But being able to uh, be yourself, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and I think what you were saying earlier really goes a long way, which was basically coming to terms mutually that I'm not out to compete with you. I'm not out to be superior or inferior to you, whether it's a conversation or a relationship or a business enterprise or whatever the case is. We're going to find things out about ourselves through our connection with the other person. And in the past, that would create projection and prejudice and bias and anger and sad,
Right.
you know. But
Yeah.
now, I think what you were saying earlier, if I understood you correctly, you were saying that we're learning from each other, I guess from a place of reverence and non-judgment and whatever other terms we can come up with. Like I said, the terms are hard to come up with.
True. Yeah, I usually compare it with monks, for example, in a monastery that are doing all kinds of meditations, but uh, they don't know what it is to be in the middle of it all, like we are. We are
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
the fullness of the world around us, and that makes it even harder. It's easier to be closed up somewhere in a building and do your thing. Um, but staying sane and calm and having inner peace in a world that's being shaken up big time, and where people will project all their things. They say all kinds of things that they don't really want to say.
Right.
Uh, just to be, yeah, uh, in control, or be more, or act wiser, or be smarter, and all coming from a place of ego mostly, is yeah is yeah one yeah those are the types of big lessons for all of us, because it's not easy to navigate through all this, the intense
No.
energies, the things that go on in family situation, lover situations. We all know that we all want someone special around us, and learning to love yourself in these cases are so important. We need to get at peace with ourselves first. And yeah, it's not easy being in a big world with so many things going on, to stay calm and not being the people pleaser, like you said. Um, just, yeah, adjusting to doing nothing. And that's
Yeah.
not easy. That's not that is yeah. Maybe in a
Like you feel like,
monastery, but
well, you feel like you have to do something. You were talking about that earlier. Like you feel like we got to do something. That's what we're used to doing. But I think what you're saying too is, and going back to the lying example, but it's really not that. It's agreeing. Like we know this whole thing was set up by our consent. We consent to pay taxes. We consent to do so many different things, so many things that were really subtle. We didn't even realize we were doing.
right.
Obviously, in personal relationships, that came to light. But uh, even, whatever it is, somebody offers you something to eat and it doesn't agree with you, but we agree to go ahead and eat it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
like we can't do that anymore, even if we want to. And I think that's what I was talking about with the things that are presented to us, people and things and situations. We always would say, right? It's going to loop back around. It's going to be a long loop and it's going to come back around, be a little louder.
Mhm.
But now it seems to be virtually instantaneous. Like,
Yeah.
which tells me that we have reached a level, at least that we can um, tap into, that we have the aptitude to move through it, uh, and not in the old way. And again, it's very you're very open, and I guess I want to use the word vulnerable and somewhat more transparent. And
Hmm.
it's a very uncomfortable feeling. So you know how it is
Yes,
for us, because we were nervous energy based. The minute we
yeah,
start to feel uncomfortable, we want to go grab something that we're comfortable with,
true.
something from
Yeah.
the old, but it's not working anymore.
No, and in this case, a good example for is also that many people think they are stuck in a loop. A lot
Mm,
of people are stuck in a loop, doing the same things every day, not seeing the truth that they're stuck in a loop. But most of us are who are awake, seeing see the difference that we're more in a spiral. It's like certain things come around again to give us another look or perception on things from our past so we can learn from it and evolve from it. And this is something I see a lot recently. It's like we're being pushed to look at everything from a higher perspective,
mm,
withdraw more, look within more, look outside again, look within more, take more rest to adjust, to adapt, see, yeah, get more clarity of who you are yourself, what the world is doing to you,
yeah.
where you are in the world, what you want differently in the new world, what you want to create in the new world, who you want to be with in the new world.
Right.
And it's uh, we're in a time like you said before, we're in a void where everything is um, not so clear to all of us. We know things are changing. We feel
Yeah.
the changes. We feel the energies. We feel things are changing within our brain, within our body, within our energy. And we just need to let it happen. Don't think about it.
Yeah.
Um, there's nothing much we can do. It's, at some point you have to surrender and go with the flow and see where it leads you, because we're not in the position to force anything anymore.
Yeah. And I think at the beginning when we started talking, you were talking about the creative part of it that's evolving or transitioning, and you mentioned the mother or the feminine. You know, that's I think that's what I hear or feel as I'm listening to you, and then just kind of reflecting, because I know like this month in our sessions, there's many times in our sessions I would think I can feel in my body. I can't explain it, but I can feel this masculine thing transforming. What is that? And last night we were in session and I just said, I am a king, um, and you are my strength. And if I expand that, or extrapolate that to the entire field that we're all experiencing, that's the way I would say it is. It's like that part of us, whether you're a man or a woman, that says, I got to go do this. We got to go do this. You got to build this. That's what's dying. And that
Mhm.
surrender you're talking about to me is what we just said, that I've repeated. It's I don't know, I guess it is surrender, to the truth. Allow
Mhm.
that truth, allow that feminine guidance to come in so we can then take an inspired action, which seems to
Yeah.
be more of a spontaneous nature.
Yes.
It's not like hey, David, we're going to do this, and then David will do that next month. And no, it's not like that. It's kind of like what'd you say? You kind of recede, allow that energy to come in. There's a level of surrender there. You're not
Yeah.
taking that old action. And then the moment that it hits you, something comes out and you go do something.
Yeah.
Something just comes out spontaneously.
True.
Mm,
A good example for myself was this summer. I was feeling guided to go to South Africa to visit certain places
mm,
for restoring energy and 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 also on a personal mission because I wanted to see this country for a long time, for many years. And there's more for me there. um, but it shows that, yeah, sometimes we're guided to certain places, we're guided to certain people, um, to make connections that are divinely guided. It's so different. It's so much different than being a masculine energy. Yeah, the masculine energy is from going adventure and forcing, pushing. Divine masculine energy is different.
yeah,
For myself, I'm more the feminine energy. Uh, the divine feminine energy within me is stronger, is guiding. That's why I'm the more
right,
spiritual uh, part of, yeah, my twin uh, twin flame connection. She's more the divine masculine, and
mm,
yeah, we're still learning to find each other and I hope soon, but we'll see. Um, Something I cannot force either. And it's
right,
we can only listen to our heart, stop thinking, follow that divine guidance, inspired action to not, yeah, to not go back into old ways.
yeah,
And there's nothing more we can do. We have to surrender again.
yeah. There's no force in it, that's for sure. And then you're just saying it reminded me again of last night today when we were reviewing last night. One of the things that we were talking about was that, and again, this is a microcosmic episode that's reflecting, the collective for we're all like that. And it's like now we've entered this field, nothing's left out. We're not leaving the mental out. We're not leaving the emotional out. We're not damn sure not leaving the physical out. And of course, the etherics, but that it's a space where the mental is quiet, the emotional is acknowledged, accepted in all of its vastness, but it's not. It's in balance. It's almost like a respect or a reverence. And then, of course, the physical aspect, which you could look at in many ways, intimacy, how we eat, how we drink, how we breathe, how our body's changing, the direct relationship or correlation between these things that we're talking about. Not to forget that our bodies are transforming. And
Yeah.
I know people have all their different versions of how that's happening to them. I know I've got my own, but there is definite evidence. Could we go prove it to the scientific world? Who cares? Because this is not even part of it. But yeah, there's some amazing things happening there. I just wanted to say too that, I can feel you, like we all can feel each other more. Now that
Mhm.
that empathy's been turned up to the point where it's not being blocked because we needed to put up boundaries, but we're actually having uh, more understanding of the other person. But uh, I feel like that uh, what you were saying about your twin, I look at the 37 months that Morgan and I were physically separated, and yes, during that time, a lot of like our ascension, we want to hurry, we're getting tired, we got to be patient. It's could be a bit painful, whatever. But God, the value of it, the wisdom of it, the coding, the intel, no matter how tough it was for the human, it's just to me, it's the same pattern that we're all on about the whole thing. We're not, we're truly, I don't even like to use the word detach, because how can you detach from something you're always connected to?
Mhm.
But we can say one thing and not do it, say one thing and not be it, but to actually have so much awareness of what you are, the love that you are, the heart that exists within yourself and collectively, that you can say whatever's the highest good. Like a trusting, like you were saying, the universe saying, "Hey, I'm the one kind of guiding this thing, or you are we, the you, me, we, and it are." Um, but yeah, just I feel you, and I'm sure that it will all come into alignment
Oh, I don't have
uh,
any.
for all
Yes,
of us.
and for so many of us out there, I mean, we're not the only ones. Uh, um, but going back to what you said about transformation is recently I was yeah seeing more about being the alchemist that we are. Is
Mm,
we have and how old we are as souls. We have so much stuff in our DNA, in our bodies, that is coming to surface, to heal, to release, to awaken, transform. And that's something I'm still surprised of, because yeah, sometimes you think, finally I'm done, and then another energy wave comes over it and brings up more stuff
yeah,
for us to heal. And it's crazy, and that we're able to transform so many energies, not from ourselves, but from the entire world around us, from the collective. It is so big and so amazing that it's for normal people, yeah, it's hard to understand. You have to live this to know this, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's so many. There's like 4 or 5 times you've said things that were you could have been sitting with us last night today in our conversation. Because one of the things we were trying to describe everything, and Morgan said, it was like there's an alchemical connection. Uh, I used the term tractor beam earlier. There was like magnetic and electric, and it turned on, and you can just hear it. But like and maybe it's 0 point, whatever. But they used the word alchemist, and we've used that term over the years, right? Since 2012 or whenever this all really started. But I believe that she's onto something, and you're now confirming that. It is an alchemy. And what is alchemy? Alchemy is turning one thing into another, and the chemistry of that, the science of that. And I feel like that's close to what we're trying to pinpoint here. That's one way to look at it. There is just like this. As soon as I sat down, not when we met earlier, but when I sat down to do this and you came on screen, my crown has just exploded. Like, started tingling and then it just went like that. That's
Mhm.
what I'm talking about. It's
Right.
we could talk about whatever, but there's something about coming together that I would think has to do with our openness and our intentions and our self awareness, our self love, which is really a reflection being reflected back to us as well. I mean, it's profound.
Right. And it's good to see that we finally find more courage to step more into our own power, our true power, because it's been taken away from us, not only in this lifetime but for many lifetimes before. And realizing that we can be powerful because we're the ones that will use this power for good, um, is very comforting to me, but I think
Yeah.
to many.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's another thing I noticed too is that there's over the years, and obviously there's no, I'm not throwing shade on anyone. I've done it. I mean, it's just part of the evolution was our ability to see that that person or group doesn't seem to be awake or they're not at the same, that kind of thing where we're now going back to what you were saying about that higher degree of empathy, or some people are saying something above telepathy. Uh, it's it's like when people talk about near deaths or out of bodies, and they have the ability to feel everything that they've been connected to. So, in other words, their
Yeah,
thoughts or their words or their actions and how it made someone else feel. So it's almost like that attributes coming in and it's affecting everything. It's
right.
affecting how we communicate and how we relate, and even in the sense of where two different bands of frequencies can't fit. And it used to be, oh, we're going to go this way and that way, and that person, something's wrong with them, and that person, they both have their opinion. But to be able to come and say, okay, well, I'll see you down the road. But it's, in other words, there's no charge. There's no charge left. It's
True.
done
I
in
mean,
peace, or something like that.
true. So many of us have always had the feeling that they were carrying the world on their shoulders,
Mm,
and at some point we have been doing that, but
yeah.
we're now at a position that we cannot allow ourselves to go back into a lower vibrational energy because we're not helping ourselves, and we're not helping others who are on
Mm,
that lower frequency. We have to um, be alert to stay in that high vibration and frequency, because this is what we came here to do. We're way showers, and we're not showing
mm,
anybody the way when we're down in the dirt and down in any dark surroundings. We need to stay out of that, and yeah, make sure that we keep creating that ripple effect around the world. That we don't
mm.
take anything personal anymore, because everybody is on
Yeah.
their way of ascension, and they're doing it on their way in their time, when they're ready. We're not responsible for anybody anymore.
Right.
We're not. We have to. Yeah, it's not
Right.
selfish. It's not selfish. I mean, like we were talking about, is like, we are all people pleasers.
Mm-hmm.
At least most of us who are are the sensitive ones that
Mm-hmm.
are people pleasers, and
Mm.
there's nothing wrong with people pleasing, but do it with the right people, the people that are of your tribe, the people who are on a path of ascension. they understand you, and then the energy will not get lost. It will
Right.
only expand and help each other grow, push, and up. And this is the only thing we can do. You, we, yeah. I
Yeah.
have no other words for it. It's a feeling.
Yeah.
It's a soul calling.
Yeah. Yeah. Feeling is a big word now. Like
Yeah.
feelings and how does it something make you feel? Like it's, and then going back to what you're saying too about the empathy thing, like it used to be that, like you said, we feel these things. Like we couldn't go into a crowd because we feel all the energy, or you know what I mean? A lot of us were hermits. Maybe that was our monk period, um, but now that empathy seems to be uh, giving us immediate, direct intel or knowledge. Um,
Right.
you know, immediate knowledge to apply in the moment. Is another thing too. We talked a lot about being present. We got to be present. We got to be present. But it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to do it and
Mhm.
actually experience it.
Mhm.
And it's a bit mind blowing. It really is because it's so different than what we've done. There's not that, I got to do this, and it's just this weird, almost like it's too good to be true. Like is this how it works? I mean, I don't need to worry about anything. Just keep following this. And Morgan said something again, and you said something again that we're talking about a while ago too. Right now, again, but and again, metaphorically, right? Like, she, the feminine, is the flower, right?
Mhm.
That opens up slowly, and then that he in us is the sun. And
Mhm.
she just wrote that. I thought, wow, that's profound because we spent a lot of time over the years talking about masculine and feminine and male and female,
Mhm.
all of us. But that, we knew that the feminine in us was suppressed, and it looked like the masculine was an oppressor. But the reality is, uh, that sun is there to
Mhm.
shine, and that was dimmed as well. It was uh, at least at a borrowed or siphoned or something. I guess all of it was, but uh, it seems like though that there seems to be a real um, union occurring of our masculine and feminine, and it's no longer just uh, theory or forecast. It's
No.
actually arrived, and it's a very physical thing, which I think is going to be another. Uh, Maybe that's even part of the reason, for instance, like her and I were apart for 37 months, was
Yeah.
because we were preparing. And that's been said a lot, that we're all preparing. All this stuff we've been going through is preparing. Well, I think we were preparing, and the things that we prepared for have arrived.
True. It's all about the inner union first, and the,
Mm,
the balance between your own divine masculine and divine feminine within us, all of us. We both have we have, yeah, uh, we all have the energies within ourselves, but we need to balance it first.
yeah.
And so inner union happens, and then the outer union attracts and becomes more peaceful, for sure.
Yeah. And the way these things are playing out too, with like this connection today, um, it's funny because you were saying that, uh, and I believe you, like you're tapped in more to your feminine. When I thought about um, coming on and doing something to, after all this time, uh, like I said, you were the first one I thought about, and I think the reason that was the case was because, for me, you represent this emerging masculine,
Mhm.
um, in the flesh. I mean, your energy, it's not loud. Uh, it's not. It's softer than than it would be loud, but that softness is powerful. It's
Hmm.
powerful. It doesn't have to say as much. It has a certain presence of command. Uh, it's a space holder as well. Uh, and I think if you look back at all the years that we've went through, say the last 12 years, obviously there's been a huge feminine presence in these
Hmm.
communities, 80, 90%. And and it's been slowly you see this. I don't want to say if there's a new human, there's a new feminine, there's a new masculine, right? It's almost like
Right.
we're the last ones to the party. Um, mhm. Which is not a
Interesting.
bad, it's not a bad thing.
Well, no, and
Yeah.
it totally makes sense because I never looked at divine the masculine and feminine like that before either. You know, I'm
Mm,
a man, and I
mm.
never even thought of being a spiritual, divine feminine leader. You know,
Right.
it didn't come up to me. You know, I didn't think about it, but it is true that the divine feminine energy within us is leading,
Yes,
and this
absolutely.
is and
Yeah.
it's the more spiritual side. And of
Right.
course, it's not gender related at all. You know, you can have women
Right.
who are more masculine, and you have men that can, yeah, are more feminine guided with energy, are softer. But that doesn't mean that the divine masculine within them is not present. It is present because I'm still a man, and well, if I have to, I kick people's ass. For example, you know, it's I don't have to do that anymore, but I used to because somehow we weren't learned to embrace the divine feminine energy within us.
Yeah.
It was suppressed in men as well, not only
Yeah.
in women, but in
Yeah.
men as well. We were all suppressed on our divine feminine energies.
Yeah. 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 It's like I was saying last night. I didn't understand it at first, and I said, "Well, if you look at it the old way, and I'll use the term she, he, but like she didn't speak for whatever reason, the
Mhm.
suppression or whatever, and he acted. And now it seems to have reversed. It's like she speaks, he can't act until she speaks, not because you know what I mean.
Right,
He doesn't know what to do until the guidance comes in, right? So it's flipped now.
right.
And I watched that too, and I'm still watching it. If I check YouTube platforms and some of the Facebook platforms, because the strange thing is, all these years, and I'm part of that. Uh, you have 80% females in these groups, yet
Right.
80% of the platforms like this are men.
Yeah.
It never made sense. So
No, true.
that's starting to flip, and I think one thing is, as the feminine evolved in us over a period of years, it's been less linear time because they broke those barriers down. You know what I mean? That part of us broke those barriers down. So it's moving very rapidly. Now, Morgan and others I know have talked about this particular month, this particular equinox being a real defining moment. I know there were some posts put up at the beginning of the month by people that we know that have been out there for a while, all talking about what you were talking about earlier, reaching this space where there's this new uh, thing that we're trying to get used to, how to create, how to communicate, how do these things work, and all that. And I asked you about that a little bit earlier in terms of a personal experience, but uh, outside of yourself, with what you see among other people, are you seeing this in other people and other places as well? Are you seeing people noticeably different or thinking different or trying to adjust to this new way, like the impact of it
Um,
affecting them?
yes, but more in I see it more in the people I know on Facebook, for example, on social
Mm,
media, that are walking, yeah, a similar path as I am. But in the outer world, I it's weird to see that you indeed see a shift with some people. You see a change um, with people that have experienced things in life, traumatic things. They are awakening more,
right.
and people that like to do harm to other people, for example, they keep doing that. They will not change.
Mm,
So it's, and I also see, if I walk, for example, in a mall or in a crowded place, it's like people don't even notice you anymore. They don't see you. They don't even see themselves. It's like
mm,
a lot of people seem emptyless.
mm.
So I don't know. I think the biggest difference you see online and on television is people are getting more aggressive at some point,
Mm.
um, and also easier to speak their opinion,
Yeah,
but not in sensitive, healthy way, um, but more of controlling, violent kind of way. It's like gaslighting each other. That's what you see, and especially in politics. And I don't have to tell you, but uh, we all see that. It's like it's normal to put people down,
yeah,
and online in certain communities, especially the spiritual communities, you see a difference as well.
right.
Some you see grow, evolve, are quiet, withdrawn, um, really trying to create that inner peace.
Yeah,
But we also see a lot of people in the spiritual community that are still acting from ego, that they
yeah,
think they're in contact with the higher
right.
self or higher power, and channeling certain beings, for example,
Yeah,
and they're not. They're really just channeling their own ego. So you see, if you take a step back, you can really see that there's a lot of things happening in the community, both online as in the physical world. And this is also a gift, I think, because it shows you where you are on your path.
right, right, right.
Uh, and it's a mirror. Yeah, it gives you an empowerment, more of a inner peace, that you're navigating through this and you're doing fine, not getting distracted and listening to yourself.
Right.
And most people still try to listen to other people, and there's nothing wrong with that, but to a certain height, you need to be discerning who you really want to listen to, because
Yeah.
there's so much talk in the spiritual world, in the spiritual community. I think, well, it goes all places, but in the outer world of 3D with normal people, you see that's the same thing happening.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, you
Yeah, that's
have
true.
to you have to be yourself,
Yeah.
and really don't give a crap what's going on around us. And that is harsh for people pleasers.
Well, it's too uncomfortable now. You can't do it anymore. I've seen so many changes in so many different people. I mean, there's a lot that you said there. Um, but I think one of the things is And again, I have to go back to the experiences Morgan and I have, which is ironic because this happened at the beginning of COVID, uh, when we were in Florida. So I was telling you at the beginning of this video.
Mhm.
So we were obviously we've gotten a lot of visitations when we've done sessions over the years,
Mhm.
and I remember in February of 2020, right before COVID really hit, right around the same time, we were visited by some reptilians, and
Okay.
they came to tell us that their job was done. It was a tough job, and you know, they were they're moving on now. You know,
Mhm.
um, and I remember telling her the next day, I was like, I wonder who it's going to be next. And she
Yeah.
said, it's going to be us. And over time, that's exactly what's happened. Not that we haven't interacted with other entities and energies and energy
Mhm.
complexes, but when you said that about the channeling and, it's all us. Um,
Yeah.
to call on, like 12 years ago, I was calling on the archangels and the angels and the prophets and this and that. It's all us. It's you, me, we, and it. It's all us. I mean, that's part of what's happening too, is we're seeing that, like you said, you see that as an observer, you can see, um, because you've done it. You know what I mean? I mean,
Mhm.
we've all been there. But anyway, yeah, I mean, there's a lot that you said there. And I do think that that's important to restate, is that, and I think we've all been, understandably guilty of it. That's not the right word, but is that sometimes we can get too attached to what we think we are, you
Right.
know, um, and what we were, and what we, bring in and all that. The reality is, we're here now, and we are it. It's up, and it's a pretty big pill to swallow.
Right.
That's a pretty tough thing to get you. What do people say? Biggest fear is the fear of your own power,
Right.
and that's part of this embodiment, is comfortable with who we really are, which is expanding every day.
Well, well,
Am I?
what I'm so surprised of is that so many people fear love, and because we're oh, dot is off or dot is out. Oh, you're still there. Okay.
But I guess that's the third, the universal energy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
Well,
faded.
okay, we're back. Okay. Well,
Oh my God. Yeah.
it's like
Your
like I
your
said.
video's gone. Yeah. I
Okay.
think that's yeah, that's probably a sign. Oh, there you are. You just popped back in. That
Yeah.
was funny. That was really funny. Well, listen, it was a pleasure to meet you. And I just want to say, on behalf of myself, and I know I can speak for a lot of people out there, not, just a mention of, all the selfless work that you've done all these years, the way that you've conducted yourself, and the example that you set, because that's really, when it gets right down to it, we can say whatever we want to, but it's our energy is the example, and our
True.
energy is what offers the expansion, like through the real virus, the good virus,
Right.
just so. But you really carried yourself in a really, um, I think, in a really honest way,
Mhm.
humble way. You said that word earlier, to remain humble. So I just want to say thanks to you, and for today, and for everything that you've always done.
Oh, thank you, Todd. Uh, Ditto your way and Morgan's way. You guys are rocking it as well, and a pleasure to, yeah, talk to you this way. It, it, it's a long time overdue, but
Well,
but a
well,
real
well,
pleasure for sure to share this. And I
yeah.
hope people that watch this find more courage to stay on their path, and yeah, be loving to themselves, and know that we're walking each other home, and
Yeah.
it takes some time, but we take it slow, and we don't push it. We just sit back and let things happen naturally.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you again, and offering the highest intentions of universal alignment for you and your beloved.
Okay,
You take
thank you,
care.
Todd. Blessings, my friend.